Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri, and is the world's first single barrel only liquor store. This business is owned and operated by Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution list. That way you'll know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and what barrel picks they have in the works. We are also sponsored by The Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers a fully customizable carrying case that allows you to take your favorite distilled spirits or cocktail ingredients with you. Whether you're looking for yourself, a customized gift, or logo items for your business or event, The Bar to Go can help. Check them out at thebar2go.com. Use the number 2 when you type out The Bar to Go. Did you know Neely Family Distillery now ships its popular distilled spirits directly to you? To order, simply call 859-394-3258. Tell them the ABV Network sent you. And now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we review the punishments for Virginia officials convicted of selling state-controlled bourbon. My name is McNew. Please join me in welcoming my co-host, Steve Akeley, along with our special guests, Kathy Cool and Katie Joyce.
Hey, gang, what's up?
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hey, so yeah, we're going to be talking about, again, this stuff's in the news here recently. We've heard about situations in Pennsylvania, in Washington, and in Virginia. And this is a couple of guys that got involved in some stuff in Virginia. And, this is with state-controlled liquor and people cheating the system. And as bourbon fans, we should be mad about that. Even if it doesn't impact us, we're not in that state. It's just bad for the whiskey industry for sure when stuff like this happens. So we'll talk about the punishments that these guys got, and do we think it's enough? We'll get to that after the break. For right now, Katie said there's something she wanted to talk about. What is that, Katie?
Yes. So the standard phrase is Jack and Coke, but arguably, I think that the better pairing is Jim and Coke.
Okay.
I hate Jack. I don't know.
I agree. I like Beam and Coke.
I don't know if it's teenage trauma or if it's really, if I just really have that better palate. And I got into this whole argument. I think that it's just better marketing for Jack and Coke. They've done a fantastic job with the marketing for Jack and Coke, but is the Beam and Coke the better choice, or is there some other better choice along the same line to mix with your Coke other than Jack, or is Jack and Coke truly the best mix?
So you're saying that it has to be mixed with Coke?
Right. Yeah, because there's different choices for like ginger ale and other sodas, but with Coke.
Okay. And again, we gotta compare it to a similar site, because you're talking about wherever you're ordering it from, that's going to be either a pretty limited menu, or you're looking for a cheap cocktail that they've already got.
Right.
They're not gonna. If you're like, oh well, I think Old Forester 1920 and Coke would be great. No, they're not going to do that.
At home, I do Buffalo Trace and Coke Zero. That's personally my favorite. Some people may get mad about that, but
drink. If I'm going to a concert,
a great choice.
Jack Coke that entire concert. That's just my concert drink.
Jack and Coke, you said?
Yeah, that's my concert drink. Any concert I go to, I want Jack and Coke. The only thing that sucks, though, if it's a facility that serves Pepsi products, I'm like, this is fucking trash. Like, I cannot stand Pepsi.
Okay, agree with that. Pepsi can go kiss my ass.
Yeah,
put Coke products in.
That. I will say, I like a Jack and Coke. Please, they'll just serve it with the Pepsi and not fucking tell you, but you know immediately. And I'm like, God, this is going to be a bad time.
Right. And what's the proper way, Katie, to order that? Is it Jim and Coke or Beam and Coke if you're ordering the Beam?
As soon as you said Beam and Coke, I felt like it sounded better.
I think it's Beam and Coke.
Yeah, that was
correct. If you said Jim and Coke, they're going to hear Jack and Coke, and they're going to give you the wrong thing.
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay.
Agreed.
So you got Jack and Coke, and you got Beam and Coke. Okay, fair enough. I mean, I think Beam and Coke is the better one, and I think that's what you should order. Beam and Coke, and just go with that. If you're looking at that type of place and that's the sort of drink you're looking for, I think that's good. That's what I drank back in the day, back in college. I wasn't drinking Fireball or whatever they had back then. That was a Goldschlager or whatever you might say it was. I don't know.
It was cinnamon schnapps, Steve. It was cinnamon schnapps.
Yeah, well, So I didn't drink that stuff. I drank Beam and Coke. Yeah.
So I
that's what
think
drank.
the Jim Beam kind of gets lost in the Coke a little bit. Like you taste the Coke more than the Jim Beam. But with a Jack and Coke, like that charcoal flavor plays really nice with the Coke and you're still tasting it. It's just not as harsh. So I really like that, the way that
I think with that level of whiskey, I don't want to taste it. I want to just taste the Coke.
Yeah, there you go.
That's fair too. That's also fair.
Kathy,
I don't
what do you think of this?
understand that. I don't understand wanting to taste the soda.
I
That
love,
doesn't make sense to me.
I love like Coke Zero and Diet Coke. I really like the flavor of it. And if I
Okay.
can get drunk off of it, fantastic.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
That's
there you go.
that's a logic I can follow. But the logic is if I'm going to have a soda, I'll have a soda. If I want to have a bourbon and soda, I'm going to have a bourbon and soda. So it's going to be Beam and Coke.
Beam and Coke. Okay.
And
Okay. Here's where we're at, Katie. To recap, we have
Mhm.
1 vote for Jack and Coke, 2 for Beam and Coke. Where do you fall on this?
this is why you all are my people. I'm a Beam and Coke. That
Yeah.
Woo!
they,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and
McNew's
that's
on
even
an island right now.
McNew's reasoning for it, I can respect. So it's
Right,
okay.
because
So
she's drinking this at concerts. So she's
my concert
is she
drink
really
though,
tasting
even,
it.
and so we were at a concert at the Family Arena here in St. Charles,
St.
And-
Louis area, but
Yeah.
for those. Yeah.
and we were in a suite, and so they provide alcohol and your food and the sweets, and the best whiskey choice I could get out of it was Beam.
Yeah,
and-
that happens.
But then we had Coke to mix with it. So I did that to start. But then by the end of the night, I was just chugging
Beam
the Jim
straight.
Beam. And
Beam-
I was
Beam
perfectly
straight.
fine with that. But at this point in my life, I'm never going to get to the point where I'm chugging Jack Daniels. It's not going to happen. And if it is, I'm having a very, very, very bad night.
Well,
my
bad
night
next day
still-
for sure.
Or that morning.
Right.
Yeah.
My night still ended great. And I had a good next day. And me finishing off those bottles of Jim Beam straight was perfectly fine in that situation. So it was good. It was still okay straight for Jim Beam.
Here's
white
my
label.
question. How many heels of Jim Beam did you put in your purse and take home?
Oh, I took an entire bucket full of chicken.
Oh,
I
God.
left with all kinds of shit. So there's video of me. I was just scrolling through my phone to see if I could find it. I ended up leaving there. And so we packaged up the extra food in like some containers that you get to take with you. And I decided that they should have provided us with bags to take it with. And it's their fault that they didn't. So I took the metal buckets that you put the beer in, and I loaded up my containers of my chicken in their metal buckets. And my mom tried to yell at me. And I promised her that the fake police in the Family Arena weren't going to care. And so I took video of myself as the police officers walked by with like this drunk girl and her like arms pinned back who was being like belligerent. And I was like, see, Mom, they don't care about my bucket of chicken. They care about her. It's like,
Hmm.
and I watched the video next day. I was like, oh my God.
I went on a.
I absolutely love Katie as like one of the most professional people we know, and she's just fucking walking around with buckets.
Like-
We're now going to talk about what we have taken out of places that
Yeah.
they didn't care.
And my metal bucket for buckets of beer that I filled with styrofoam containers of chicken out of the Family Arena. I will admit to my crime.
I'm
Right.
going to picture the chicken in the buckets without the styrofoam
Yeah,
containers
that's
around
exactly
them.
how I was picturing. I just like picture like chicken legs like sticking
Yeah.
out the top.
Just a little bit. I've just got chicken coming out of it.
That's how I think, like a KFC bucket almost is how I pictured it.
But with the handle.
Right.
Yeah, with the handle, it's convenient.
It was very convenient.
Yeah.
It's really brilliant, actually.
When I had the corporate gig, we would have corporate events. I was in charge of sales training, and we would have salespeople come in, and they always, go crazy. Salespeople together for training, they act like you got high school kids out there.
Barrel people, salespeople are a different breed.
They're crazy, right? So, but one of them was a young guy, and we go to the Blues game, and we're in the box, and we're leaving. As we get out to the bus, because we got on the bus, he opens up his coat. He says, "Look at this," and he has 8 bottles that he lifted from the Blues thing.
8 bottles of beer?
I was tempted.
No, 8 bottles of whiskey or wine and just whatever they had there, all everything. And I'm like, yeah. You got away with it because they don't care, because they're going to charge us. This is going to go against my budget now. They could care less if you took every bottle that they had in there. They just go through an inventory at the end, and whatever's not there, they just charge you for it. Yeah, great job, great. By the way, this guy's a reality TV star today.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my
He's
God.
a big-time star. You guys might know him. I'm not going to say it on the air here.
Oh,
Text it
shit.
to us
Will you
later.
tell us off the air?
I'll tell you off the air, sure.
Tell us at the end of the 5th show so we don't accidentally say it on the next one, please.
Oh, yeah. You got Kathy
Will,
here. I shouldn't say it.
I'm going to say it.
I probably shouldn't say it.
I
in front
will
of Kathy.
say it.
I'll have to hang up on Kathy, and I'll tell the other two. Well,
Save it for the 5th show.
yeah. All right. So there you go. There's
On my video that I have and that starts
with the chicken.
of officers
Look at the face. Yeah, she's
and then
looks guilty.
Doing something.
Yeah, see, that's a guilty face right there.
I have a glow light around my head as a crown as well, as you can
Oh,
see.
yeah.
Oh,
That's
you can
nice.
see it. Yeah.
Glow bracelets that I hooked up. And then there's my bucket.
There's the bucket of chicken.
And the police were chasing after what had she done?
Is that your mom behind you? Was she trying to tell you to stop?
No, one of my mom's best friends who's in charge of
Oh.
driving my home. My mom had abandoned me at this point.
She was done. She didn't want to be an accomplice to the crime.
Yeah.
I don't live anymore.
So I kept showing off my bucket. But
Yeah, there you go. Bucket of chicken. It wasn't worth it. Was it worth it? All right. Guess what? It is time to drink. What is everyone drinking? Let's start with Darren. He's been very quiet thus far. Oh, we lost Darren.
Oh,
He's
dear.
so quiet. That's because he's not even here.
I just want to say that the combination of McNew, Katie, and I took Darren out.
I think so. I think
We took
Poor
him
guy.
out.
Have a
I felt bad. There was a few times I would purposely try to be quiet, of like trying to encourage him to speak, and then like 2.5 seconds later, I'd forget and talk right over him again. I felt really bad.
He's got to learn how to stand up for himself.
That's
This
right.
is good training.
You'll learn.
Will we ever make it through a Friday with all people, all 5 to the end? Though I don't. I think
Not
I guess
with
we're
us
just past
three.
that.
I
I guess we're just past that.
I've been going strong this quarter, Steve.
This quarter, you're good. You're good. McNew had a good
It's
first quarter.
April.
I had a good first quarter.
We're like 1 week into the quarter.
Yeah, well, she's doing so far so good. So far, there's been a good week for her.
Now. I've had
Okay. First quarter, she did good. Second quarter, so
Did
far
you-
so good.
Hold on, but you record on Fridays and Sundays, and today's Friday. Is this the very first recording of the quarter?
Yes, it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna
but
Wait,
so
did you
far
work-
so good. Yeah,
He's made 4 out of 5.
it's a good
here's the
quarter.
thing, like, I know that I can't get too drunk tonight because I have an appointment in the morning. So I'm really trying to be good.
She's trying to be good. She's trying to be good.
Oh my god.
All right. Well, it's time to drink. We're going to start with Kathy because she looks like she's ready to go. What do you got
I
there?
am ready to go. I'm going to open, and just so the listeners know, there's no tie to this company and the topic,
Oh,
but
God.
I'm going to open a 10th Mountain.
Okay, that's your best cork pop of the night. It's not bad. It's not bad. I'll go next. I've got Yellowstone here. This is 2020, the limited edition. So,
Ooh,
well, yeah, it's a good one. It's a classic.
beautiful.
Look at that. Woo!
Oh, you beat me.
That sounded like a shotgun going off. I hope everyone's okay. Is everyone all right? Do you guys want to
My
continue?
ears are ringing a little
There
bit.
you
But,
go.
Would you like to
Just give me
continue? All right, all right. Go ahead, Katie. You're next.
I have a bottle of B is for bourbon, kind of
Oh, nice.
like KK is for subtlety.
Can we make a sticker?
Yes, please.
AK is for subtlety. Yes.
Oh yes, yes.
All right,
Oh.
quiet on the set.
Oh, geez. Oh, that's interesting. I feel like mine beat it, but I'll go ahead and give Katie the benefit of the doubt and throw it to a judge. Our judge, of course, is someone who's still in the contest. That way it takes out any bias that they have or anything like that. So it's going to be McNew. McNew, you're our judge here. It's either Katie or me.
I really hate when you make me the judge, but I was honestly paying more attention to Katie. So
Okay. Again, no, that's a great answer there. That's fucking perfect. She didn't pay attention to mine, so that means Katie wins. Even though clearly mine was explosive, it was a shotgun. Katie's was decent.
Steve, I would have voted for you
tonight.
because I accidentally hit the plastic on mine a little bit before it, and I think I made a crinkle.
Yeah.
Technically.
You still win. This was a pick from your store.
Katie.
Still winning.
Oh, all right. Go. It gives me something to whine about. So yeah. So
you're welcome.
It's my persona. So yeah. All right, McNew, what do you got?
This is not going to do much. I have a Weller antique.
Nothing.
I heard nothing.
Yeah, well.
It's like the other computer I was using.
Yeah. Katie wins. Cheers.
Cheers.
Ding. All right, we'll take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about, is no jail time good enough in this instance? That's what we're looking at. We'll do that in just a few. Let's talk about the people who make these shows happen. First up is the ABV Barrel Shop. It is the most unique shopping experience in the world of bourbon, as the ABV Barrel Shop only sells single barrels. Owners Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot select. With over 100 distilleries on board to sell us barrels, we are home to the most unique and diverse barrel pick selections in the bourbon world. By signing up for our email, you will always know what we have in stock. In addition to the single barrels, we'll have a gift shop featuring ABV Barrel Shop as well as ABV Network merchandise. We are partnering with vendors like Art Eatables and Old Man Bay Signs to bring you unique items you can't find anywhere else. We'll also have a 24-seat classroom where we are offering educational and fun classes like Breakfast and Bourbon, a series where we pair donuts and bourbon, customer barrel picks, and opportunities to learn from master distillers and other bourbon dignitaries. Best of all, we feature a tasting bar where you can try before you buy. All of this is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. If you are in the St. Louis area, please stop by to say hi. If you're traveling in from outside the area, please take advantage of our hotel rates with the Drury Inn and Pear Tree Inn, less than a mile from our shop. This can be done via the links in our Visit St. Louis section on our website. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to plan your trip. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. Hi, this is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network. We're sponsored by the Stave and Thief Society. This is where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge a bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my Executive Bourbon Steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification program available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Okay, let's talk about the Neely Family Distillery. In 2018, I met Royce Neely at an industry event. He started appearing on our shows, and we became friends during my frequent trips to Kentucky. Today, he is amongst the leaders of young distillers leaving their mark on the bourbon industry. A visit to Neely Family Distillery yields insight on their unique family history, why their products are special, and gives you the opportunity to taste their whiskey, moonshine, and creams. Check them out at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com or visit them in Sparta, Kentucky.
This is also Freddie Mills going underneath the alias of Danny Kennard. You can find me on Facebook at any time. Just look up Danny Kennard, but I am Freddie Mills. Trust me.
Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. Today we're talking about the Virginia officials and their punishment.
Yes, we are. So we got two guys here that were involved. They both end up taking plea deals, get a bunch of stuff tossed out. But they do have to plead guilty to felonies, but they get suspended sentences. So one had a 2-year suspended sentence, one had a 1-year. One of them still facing some charges for other stuff. So there could be jail time associated with that, the selling of the alcohol. But we're talking about the Virginia stuff here specifically, and no jail time for what they've got to this point. Again, suspended sentences, which means there could be jail time if they violate their terms of their parole, or I guess it's not parole, terms of, what is it, Katie? Terms
Probation.
of probation. So, yeah. So, I don't know. What do we think about this?
So before Katie jumps in.
Yes, because we'll
get your opinions first.
Let's get our opinions first. There was one felony related to computer trespassing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I read. the minimal nature of his infraction is the fact that he wasn't given active jail sentence. Authorities dropped several charges, and you know, they seized 200 bottles of bourbon, and this right here is the worst infraction of all. Everything they seized, they're going to destroy.
Yeah. And you believe that, right? So yeah, 100% believe that.
Yeah, they'll destroy it.
Yeah, I got this. I'll hear, boss. Don't worry, I've got this.
Can I be invited to the fire sale on that? Like, I want to destroy it.
They'll crush the bottles.
Is there a heel party?
Yes.
Yes, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this, McNew?
My thought is sometimes I love when judges make examples of people, and sometimes I don't, because sometimes I feel like they make examples of the wrong people, but these would be the fucking right people to make examples of. And I think at least 6 months in jail would have like proved a little bit of a point. I think that's a minimum.
18 months.
Yeah.
18 months in jail.
18 months would fuck someone's life up. Sorry, continue with your opinions.
I fucked up the bourbon world. 18 months.
If you're in the bourbon world and you know, like, these guys are being fucking shady, being assholes, make an example of them so people like say, oh, they're on to us. We're not going to do that. I think they should have. I'm saying 6 months. Kathy says 18. Put them behind bars for a little bit, I think. But that's just my.
It feels like there should be jail time. And again, I get it. These are a couple normal people that have a job that are working. But they did things that crossed the line. They crossed the line. No one made them do the things that they did. They did it themselves out of their own greed. And you know what? Who gets hurt by this in the end? The people that got screwed out of being able to buy that bourbon. So all consumers collectively get hurt. And also, who gets hurt by it is the coworkers that they leave behind that still have to do these jobs. Because anytime they have a Virginia raffle from this point forward, they'll be like, "Oh, the fix is on again. Here we go. These guys are they've done it before. Right. So they can't really do anything anymore. But again, these guys are out of it. They don't have to deal with that. It's the people that are left behind, the honest people who didn't do this, that get screwed over. So I don't know. It seems like there should be some jail time here. So
what jail time do you think they need, Steve?
I don't know. I think like McNew along the lines of 6 months. That's enough to and they get 6 months and a felony conviction. That's pretty bad, right?
I don't think
that never leaves you. That never leaves you.
I don't think they should be felons. I think
I've been married twice,
felons fuck you up for life. You can't do a lot of things once you're a felon. I don't think they should be felony charges, but I think they should have done jail time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that. I can follow that logic.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right, Katie.
Go Katie. Tell us all the real stuff that we need to know.
Yeah.
So, I would have been shocked if either one of them ended up serving any actual jail time. If someone had told me, other than maybe they were arrested and like sat there for a hot minute until they were released on bond, if any of them would have been sentenced to actual jail time and that they had to serve, I would have been like, wait, what? Huh?
Okay, but let's and it sounds like you're not for them getting in trouble, and you know the legal system better than us. But what is these 200 bottles worth? If it's the right stuff, 200 bottles could be worth $50,000, $100,000. I mean, if it's along the lines of Pappy, that's going to be at least $2,000 a piece. This is there incentive for the next person that now has these jobs not to do this? You get slapped. You'll lose your job, but you're going to lose your job anyway.
So I tried to find their cases back because I had found them the first time we talked about these guys. But I didn't, for some reason, I didn't find the exact cases back. I don't know if I went to the wrong website this time, but so I'm curious to see what their terms of probation are, because a lot of times the terms of probation can be a huge pain in the ass for these people. And so there's to the point where people who have experience in the criminal justice system sometimes will be like, you know what? I'll do a little bit of jail time. I don't want to do probation. They'll be like, I do not want to do your 2 years or your 5 years of probation. because that will be way more work on me. It'll be a huge pain in the ass. I'm going to have so many things I have to do. It's likely that I'm not going to hit every single mark I have to hit. I'm going to get violations. It's going to get extended. I might still end up having to do my time. So like they know that it's a struggle, and that they then will choose of, you know what, just let me go to jail for a little bit and then be done. It's way simpler. So if we have
you have to pay for that shit. Sorry.
Right. And probation is very expensive. Yeah. And so, and it keeps them then out of the jails for the actual violent offenders, which it should be reserved for in most situations. And so that there's a benefit there as well. And that, especially if they don't have a criminal history. I mean, personally, if I went to jail for more than like a few hours, my life would be like totally fucked up. So,
well, then don't fuck with my bourbon.
Right. Yeah. Don't break the law. Right.
But like
that's the same thing. And they're not going where the violent criminals are. I wouldn't think that. Like, there's different levels of prisons, right?
Pick something else to fuck with. Like,
so the thing though is that in prison, yes, there's different like levels, minimum, maximum, etc. However, in jail, not necessarily. So if you're going to be less than a year and you're just sitting in the county jail, you're going to be with everyone, and they're most likely then going to be sitting with the people who are awaiting trial, the people who are there,
people who wanted to buy bourbon that couldn't get it because you fucked them over.
A wide variety of offenses, drug offenses, etc. So a lot of times the jail time is actually harder than prison time. You have access to less resources. You don't have access to the educational programs. They don't have like gyms and libraries and all these things that the prisons have for the longer term stays. The jails are actually harder.
I'd rather see him go to jail and then have to deal with the guy who's gonna take care of that, and then see him on the Facebook page, that fuck around and find out guy, where you see all the shit going on, and then he does the graph where you fuck around and find out they fucked around and then they found out. So I like that page. That guy looks like an engineer, like a classic engineer.
Even if they sent them to jail, I don't think it would work for like making a point out of them or showing people a lesson, because there's so many people in the criminal justice system who don't go to jail, who get on probation, who get that second chance. And part of it is we are focused on a system that's focusing on trying to prevent recidivism, trying to give people a second chance, etc. But I don't think you couldn't just make an example out of these people. I don't think it would be effective in that manner.
So we're not effective. What about for the bourbon fan? If I live in Virginia, and we see this in the legal system, not necessarily applied here. This isn't how they would say, okay, for punitive damages, we're going to put you in jail to make up for all the bourbon fans you fucked over. But in reality, that's kind of what it is. It would be punitive damages for be like, these guys are going to do 6 months in jail because as a state, they fucked over our entire state because those 200 bottles and who knows how many other ones they had that we didn't catch them with.
I prefer creative punishments. So I would prefer in creative sentencing. So I would prefer them to be on probation for a longer term. And one term of their probation is they're not allowed to purchase any alcohol. So now you're taking a person out of the market, that there's one less person purchasing alcohol for a longer time period, because rather than sitting in jail for 6 months, 18 months, whatever. Now
what if we took out them in like the next 3 generations of their children?
Well, unfortunately, their sentencing is not going to last that long. That would be a constitutional violation. But if we could, that'd be great.
Those are suggestions, constitution.
Right. So we could take them out of the entire market for 2 years to 5 years, depending on how long their probation is. That seems a little better for the people.
What if they you say I can't buy it, Judge? To be honest, those 200 bottles you got, I didn't buy those anyway. Can I have those back?
We're good. So I'd say come up with
those were free
of like creative community service to make up for it, of using things to make them like embarrassed and like they have to go stand on the street corner and say like, board. I screwed over bourbon fans, things like that. I'm a fan of, but just making them go sit in jail, that's a waste of resources.
I'm totally on board with that being a waste of resources, but I also do not see people standing on street corners with
well, there are, well, it's always
just saying I did this stupid thing.
Yeah, I think there'd be some issues with actually sentencing someone to that, but
they'd probably get donations because people see people sign, they just hand them money. They probably make money out of the deal.
And then give it back to the people who lost out on not being able to, so you could put this towards charity. There you go.
So every single person who wanted to buy a bottle of their liquor in that state of Virginia,
in this example,
would get a cut of that. So now we're talking about
it's a classic. It's a classic class action lawsuit type situation.
Now we're getting
join the class action. You
lawsuits.
get 53 cents. Here's
I
your
would
check.
like for them to go to the house of every person in the state who may have purchased that and personally apologize.
You could talk to your legislature in Virginia and see if there's like a whiskey offenders registry that they have to
whiskey
join.
offenders registry. We're starting that now. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They have to notify all the local liquor stores within 20 miles. They can't have Blanton say we can't buy that. Yeah. Yeah. Even if you have it for a good deal, we can't buy it. So that's part of the registry. Interesting.
They have what I didn't get to, and I would have been able to look at it if I found the actual case back, but I'm curious if they don't have any criminal history, it's possible they would get, in Missouri, we call it an SIS, which means that when you complete your probation, you actually avoid the conviction entirely. And so they actually could end this without any criminal conviction if Virginia has this similar situation. So rather than what we would call here an SES, meaning that you have the criminal conviction, but you just don't serve your sentence. And so they suspended
and there are no repercussions.
And so if you do like a criminal background check on someone who's had the SIS, it will, if you fingerprint, it'll show that they were charged with that offense, but the case resulted in no conviction. Okay. And so if you say, have you been convicted of a misdemeanor? No, I haven't been. Now, technically, if you ask, have you pled guilty to, the answer would be yes. I would be interested to know, because I'd say if it's their first offense, it's very likely that they're avoiding a conviction as well, if the Virginia system is similar to Missouri. And so even though it is a higher amount, just because it's walk the line to your probation and you'll avoid this.
So any state workers who are listening, it's worth it. Do it. If you feel the need, if you can cheat, if you can steal, do it. I mean, you're not going to get any trouble. I mean, at the end of it, they just erase it anyway. Do it. I mean, there's a lot of money at stake here. Do it. Yeah.
Here's what bourbon lovers love. It's state-controlled alcohol.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We can see this, and it just keeps popping up, too. Like I said, we heard of situations in Pennsylvania. We heard of situations in Washington, and now here. And
Oregon. Was it Oregon or Washington?
I thought it was Washington, but maybe it was Oregon.
So,
I don't know.
Katie,
in the Pacific Northwest, let's just say.
like creative punishments. So what if you said you're on probation, no jail time, but you have to go do the worst job in the distillery? What's the worst job in a distillery? I don't know.
I would do the worst job in the distillery. What is that? That's not punishment. That's a treat.
Maybe they only sweet mash and you have to clean out the things. Like maybe you just have the shit jobs.
Or like in like the liquor industry in general. Yeah, like the worst job. Like they have to go break down cardboard boxes all day. Yeah. Just mindless, endless break down cardboard boxes.
You did not respect this alcohol. You need to know where it came from. So you're going to go do the hard work for 6 months. I think that.
Or like work at like the recycling plant where the empty glass bottles come in. Something like that. Yeah.
Okay, here's the worst job. So Steve will tell you that there are no recycling plants.
They're not. It just all goes together. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I go to the recycling plant and I separate my glass by color even and my types of plastic.
And then it goes through like 2 different conveyor belts, then it all gets merged together and dumped in the same thing.
Oh, no.
Yeah, here's the door where it's going in. It's like, separate, together. Yeah, there's no such thing. It's a farce. Yeah.
Okay, now I don't feel bad about getting
I personally am going to come up with a punishment that is that will be respectable and fall under all the laws for these people.
Do you have it here now, or are you working?
I have to think about this. Show number 4.
This should be, that'd be fun. I could start sending out some of the cases where I'm prosecutor and asking for you guys to come up with the terms for probation when we want to be creative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probation.
I'm for creative punishments too. I just, I don't know.
I want to bring back the thing where they put you in the wood.
Shackles. The shackles.
Yeah, I would rather they get a punishment that is not pleasant at the time, but they don't have to live with the rest of their lives. Which a felony, you do have to live with the rest of your life if they don't have this thing where it just
until
takes
you
it
can
off
expunge
like
it, or
Right.
until the state
So,
creates a constitutional
felons-
amendment that just gets rid of things as if you never did anything wrong, because it's total bullshit. We don't care about the fact that you did something wrong while it wasn't.
I
continue.
freaking
And felons
wish
don't get to
that.
vote, but
Yeah.
Right. And so that's, I think, and that's part of too of why like Missouri has our option that you can complete probation, avoid the conviction, because then like for felonies, you lose your rights while you're on probation. But if you successfully complete the probation, you don't get the conviction. So you get your
Right.
rights back.
That's a pretty good carrot to dangle. I mean,
Yeah.
you get
It
that
is.
back. Yeah. You can carry your guns and all that kind of good
I was
stuff,
gonna.
right?
Does Missouri let former felons have guns then, if that's what they do?
And so if
No.
you avoid the conviction, then you're not a convicted felon.
you're not
You
a
can
felon.
have them, but you
Yeah.
cannot have them while you're on probation.
Okay.
but in our world, aren't guns bottles of bourbon? Like, we don't want to talk about guns. We would just want to talk about bourbon.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I like
If
talking
it's
about
topical.
both.
If it's
Steve wants to
topical.
talk about guns
Well, if it's
because he has
topical.
and
And
he has a
He
gold-plated.
says, "You fucked up once, and you're fucked for life. We're not
No.
getting rid of anything.
No.
You can have things expunged technically, but that's a whole process.
It
It
Indiana
is.
about
It
things.
is.
We're like medieval about shit in Indiana.
So, McNew, is that process difficult?
I've never done it. I'm just like fucking leave it on there. I don't care.
Okay. I thought maybe there's something McNew was going to confess there. So.
No, because I still, it's not a long story. But no, so I was like looking for like part-time jobs, and they were like, have you ever had a misdemeanor? And I had to say yes, even though it was 7 years ago, because Indiana does not get rid of shit. Ever.
But it was a misdemeanor.
You don't have to answer this right now, but what was it for?
It was a DUI.
Oh.
Like everybody knows. But
Oh, okay.
He's talked about it on the air before.
You can't
That's
go
not
to
exciting.
Canada.
7 years ago, like, why the fuck is it still a problem? And I've not had anything since then.
You
like,
could have that expunged now at year 7 under Missouri law. So
yeah, I mean, I could, but that's a whole process. I don't want to deal with it. Just leave it on there.
You can't go to Canada though, so
you should have done it here in Missouri, and then I could have expunged it for you. You really messed up. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
gosh, why did you drive drunk in Indiana and not
Right,
Missouri? Gosh,
right.
McNew, think ahead. Come on.
Yeah, use your brain, McNew.
Plan those things, okay?
Use your brain. So there you go. All right. I don't know that we resolved anything.
I don't even know what we talked about.
Right?
True. I think it was beautiful. I think it was a beautiful show. So, yeah. All right. We'll wrap this one up as we always do by talking about where people can find us. Kathy, we're going to start with you. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at KKCastStrength.
KT.
You can find me issuing unique sentences as prosecutor, and then keeping people out of jail as defense attorney, and also over on Instagram at Katie Proof.
All right, McNew.
I'm on Instagram at McNew ABV.
For me, I'm an easy guy to find. I'm at Steve Akeley on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. We've also got a company website. That thing's abvnetwork.com. That's the one you got to check out. Everything that we do is out there. All of our 3,000 plus episodes of the Bourbon Daily are out there, and so much more. abvnetwork.com. Please stop by and see us. ABV Barrel Shop. If you want to just get on our email distribution so you know what we've got at any given time, head over to abvbarrelshop.com. Fill out that quick form, and we will have you on the list. McNew, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I would like to remind the audience to please give us a 5-star review. That includes comments. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. And if you like what we're doing, we ask that you please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/the ABV Network.
Great job today, gang. For our audience, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Peace. Before we finish the show, let's talk about some great companies that support the ABV network. First up is Moonshine Still Pro. Moonshine Still Pro has a full line of products to help the home distiller. Whether you want to experiment on the stove in your kitchen or you're looking for a bigger setup in your backyard, owner Russell Creed and his team can help. They have multiple still offerings, accessories, and even grain from their partners at Goldstone Mill to assist you in making whiskey on par with your favorite distillery. They can also help you with some fabricated parts you probably can't make yourself if you are attempting a DIY still project. Learn more or order your stiller parts at moonshinestillpro.com. Last but not least is the ABV Barrel Shop. While we don't get to play in the allocated bourbon game because we aren't selling the other products you have to do to get those, we do have access via our friendships in the bourbon industry to some really cool stuff. Have you ever seen your favorite craft distiller selling some really cool limited offerings only in their gift shop? I'm talking things like the hazmat offering Distillery 291 did for their 10th anniversary, or Neely Family Distillery's Papaw's birthday barrel. They don't have enough of it to send it out to distributors, so they only sell it via their gift shop. Well, companies like Distillery 291 and Neely Family Distillery have agreed to sell us 2 or 3 cases of these offerings moving forward, meaning our store will have the access to some of the rarest whiskeys in the world. Way more difficult to come by than the allocated bourbon offerings with the national release. Yes, they will be extremely tough to come by, but if you're a customer of our store, you'll have a chance to get them. Get signed up for our email or text list over at abvbarrelshop.com so you don't miss out.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.